Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this has been your True Nerd, and welcome back to Medieval 2 Total War, where last time the first big event of the game was called The First Crusade is on. We are going to Cairo, or rather, we're going to go to Cairo sooner or later, because Cairo is it's quite a long way away. In terms of, territories that are quite far away from Denmark, Cairo is not quite the furthest away in the world. We could have gone, way over here. But, it's pretty much as far on the other side of the map as we can get. So as a result, we need to make sure before we set off we've actually got everything present and correct. So Prince Charles, our factioner, with Admiral John, good old Admiral John, he's my favourite. We're getting back here to Hamburg. We're going to get an army, and we're going to get the First Crusade underway today. I need to figure out what else I'm going to do, because, there's a question as to how much I actually send over to the campaign. Because the thing about Europe in this game is Europe gets crowded. And you don't really want to be waging too many wars in Europe because the Pope gets angry and, there's a risk of alliances forming against you and stuff. Really, this is going to be our big expansion zone down here. If we can build a big Danish empire down here in the Middle East, that would be really, really flipping lovely. So that's really what we should be kind of aiming to do at some point. Ooh. Okay, Sicily, lardy flipping die, you're expanding well, I missed that. Alright, Sicily has done a very good job. Yeah, they've taken Tunis and they've taken... okay, wow, admittedly, in all fairness, the Tripoli region in this game is just ludicrously big. This was big regions back in Rome Total War, but back then it was, this was Leptis Magna, and then there was the little Cyrenene area, and then there was Siwa covering this. Now, all three of those territories have been merged into one ridiculous mega territory that is actually, it's not even actually that rich, to be honest, a lot of it's wilderness. But, just by sheer land mass, it's quite possible right now Sicily technically have the biggest empire in the world, but the game doesn't really, I don't think the game counts that anywhere, which is a shame. But anyway, if Sicily decided to join the Crusade, they could get armies to Cairo very, very quickly indeed. So we've got to get underway pretty damn soon. I mean, Venice have got an even easier ride. They can literally just take whatever army they've got over here in Crete, shove it on a boat and be there in a couple of turns. So yeah, that's why we're in a bit of a hurry. And Crusades is why I love this game, by the way. I just want to talk this for a second. Which is, the thing about Medieval 2 versus Rome was, back in Rome, aside from a couple of things like the Marian reforms and the Civil War, there weren't really big world-changing events. But in Medieval 2, this is what they really improved, which is there's loads of big world-changing events. They happen all the flipping time in Medieval 2, and they just keep things interesting. Things like Crusades is the first one that's going to pop up, but there's loads of other stuff that just happens over the course of the game that might theoretically just change everything, and it stops the game being static, even if the empires have kind of settled into nice, uneasy alliances or pieces or whatever. We'll get to them as they come up. They're absolutely fantastic. It's one thing I absolutely love about Medieval 2. Right, let's get our agents all in position, because yes, Toke here, our good old merchant Toke, needs to head north, chasing down this bastard, because we've got a flipping Imperial merchant floating around here, and this is interesting. Prague is not technically under siege. I'm just going to send my spy over in, this sort of a direction. See where he's... What happened to the Imperial force? Well, there's the Imperial force right there. I'm not sure what it's about to do. Right. If they're going to completely ignore Prague, they just... They failed to take it. Okay, because, you can see it's been attacked because the wall's damaged, and the wall's never damaged unless someone's actually tried to attack it. Right. So this force is presumably going to go and finish the job. If it doesn't, then we might want to consider going for Prague. Prague is worth taking. I bet it's a high-risk settlement because it will leave me, surrounded and exposed. But there's also Antwerp over here. And right, let's just get our armies in position. We need to start thinking about the Crusade. We'll worry about everything else later. Winning the Crusade is well worth it. Now, the army that's coming back here with Prince Charles, so that's currently got some scouts, some mercenary spearmen, some basic Viking raiders, and some Norse archers that we won't actually be able to fix up, unfortunately. So, could probably use a little bit more just straight-up heavy infantry if we don't have much in here right now. No, we've got basically none. Right, let's spend a fair whack of money just getting some extra heavy infantry and whatever in play. Dismounted Huscarls, Peasant Archers, super cheap, 220 a go, and the upkeep's only 100, and also some scouts. Lovely, let's just get some extra troops going there. And of course, the other nice thing, now that I've already actually got the leather tanner here, any new troops that are trained here, of course, will automatically have the padded armour if they're allowed to wear it. And over in Helsinki, now it's actually a wooden castle, I can actually finally get around to retraining some of these guys. So go on, let's retrain the mercenary crossbowmen, because Because that would be a very, very good idea to do, yes. Just in case the Russians attack, yeah, having a single unit of cavalry, single unit of mercenary crossbowmen, those will hold out longer and better than you might expect, as long as you play things carefully. Right, that's all we can do this turn. Let's see what happens next. So Imperials are, yeah, we've got one flipping, they are just spamming merchants everywhere. That's fine, that's just extra free money for me. Imperial army's marching south. Where are you guys going? There's no rebel territory down there. This is intriguing. Right, nothing major, but yeah. For whatever reason, the Imperials not going after Prague and, relations worsened with Russia. Which would be, well, it's not my bloody fault. I got to this place first, alright? Right now, quite frankly, you're standing in my territory. Not my problem. And there's Stockholm, an actual proper flipping town. Lovely. Let's get these guys some flipping roads. Because apparently that's not going to increase trade at all. I feel like it should, because they should be able to trade with, like, Oslo. There should be, yeah, there's a road up to here. So that should open a road through to Stockholm. They should be able to trade with each other very, very nicely indeed. But sadly not over here. Yeah, this game was, I can't remember if I've mentioned these so far. Yeah, this game introduced, like, crossing points. That just means that land units are allowed to cross at those points. You don't always need ships around to do that. Also, what are you doing round here? Why don't you just go to... Well, I guess technically you do have a port round here. I'm just not really sure why your ships are over in this direction. Fine, whatever. You and me are friends. It's alright. And Oslo, yeah, you know what? I'm going to spend the money to get Oslo straight up to the next tier of town. Because the next tier of town will get Oslo or port. And a basic port, yeah, it's nowhere near as good as it was back in Rome 1. But it still will give me a little bit of extra money. And money is really the big limiting factor right now. I mean, you can see I'm struggling to be building everything. Or at the same time, it is difficult in this game. And I'm also very, very interested over here, yeah. So the Imperials had a big pile of troops just heading south. I'm just going to move some troops over here for a second. Why do you have a massive army just congregating outside Vienna? There's no rebel settlements nearby. There's, yeah, the Venetians to the south. You've got the Hungarians over to the east. If you're not going for Prague, where are you going? This is very, very interesting indeed. Right, I think we should probably just leave this guy here. The thing is, if you've actually got a boat, you can actually blockade the crossing points, which is really kind of interesting, because, yeah, if you put a boat there, then no one can cross it if they don't have permission, like if they're not one of yours. So that can be a good way of kind of blocking crossing points and making them exclusively your crossing point, which is really, really damn cool. And then we've got ourselves, yes indeed, we've got King Canoodle and some dismounted Hussars coming over in this direction. No need to worry about that, just keep them moving over here. But yeah, if I had a boat nearby, I could actually, at this point, blockade this crossing point to trap this guy in a corner so that my merchant can get on top of him. But as it is, like, I think this guy's just going up here to trade some valuable stuff up here, so we'll probably catch him later. It's not really kind of worth my time chasing him down. There'll be other merchants floating around I can get to, like, just as easily. Right, let's get Prince Charles home here. So we can just about, yeah, we can get everyone back in a Hamburg. Lovely. And while we're in Hamburg, of course, we can immediately retrain any guys that need retraining. These guys are... Why do you need retraining? Oh, can you have... No, you can't have... Hang on, just go over to here. Yes, you can. You can have padded armor. Fine. So I could retrain this guy to give him padded armor. I could retrain this guy to, yeah, actually get him up to strength and give him padded armor. I could also get this guy. He's almost at full strength, so don't really need to bother. Or scouts can be, yeah, those guys can be repaired as they actually have a little bit of experience, so they are better. Just like in Rome 1, obviously scouts get a little bit better as they actually improve. It has changed a tiny bit though. You will notice that back in the days of Rome Total War, every single bar of experience gave you +1 to your attack and to your defense. In Medieval 2, that's no longer necessarily the case. So you see these scouts are getting more powerful, but their defense hasn't got any better on account of actually this guy having a bar of experience. Meanwhile, the scouts aren't allowed to wear the padded armor because that's not their next available upgrade. They need light mail if they're going to get any better. But light mail will be a nice upgrade, so whenever that is available, that will be good indeed. So, now in this army, yeah, we've got ourselves plenty of archers. We've got one unit of dismounted Hussars. We've got a few mercenary spearmen. One more unit of... Yeah, I'd say... one more unit of direct fire or dismounted Hussars, just in case. Let's bring the elite of the elite with me here. And then, next turn, the Crusade will actually be ready to begin. You head back to our house in order to actually get yourself retrained. And thank you, by the way, to the comments who told me apparently the correct pronunciation of this town that I so kind of harshly renamed would be Aarhus. So, even though I'm going to keep calling it our house because I've renamed it, apparently the correct pronunciation of this town would be Aarhus. So, thank you, comments, for telling me that. Oh, things are getting worse and worse for flipping Ingrid. I've just been unlucky here, which is, yeah, one, she hasn't picked up traits like intelligent and whatever, which would be really, really good. And also she's picked up bruised confidence and secret love, which unfortunately just means that her charm has gone down. And that's just bad luck. I don't think there's anything you can do to stop that happening. It just happens at kind of random. So, unfortunately, Ingrid, even though she was once 5 out of 10 for charm, is now down to 3 out of 10, meaning it's going to be a little bit harder for her to find a good husband. So, tragically, my princess on this occasion has not worked out very well. And in the town of Stettin, we'll get ourselves a grain exchange going on so I can get another merchant in production. Yeah, I thought you could have one merchant per rank of the actual trade buildings. So therefore I'll be able to train a new merchant here at our house. Now I've got the market up. But that doesn't seem to be the case, because it does say agent limit has been reached. So I'll need to double check how that is calculated. Because yeah, I thought merchants, you were actually allowed to have one per rank of building, because maybe that would be too many. And if you've got, like, you know, just 5 towns with a market, you can have 10 flipping merchants floating around, which may be too many, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm not sure how that works exactly. I mean, it can't just be one per town, surely, because otherwise, like, you wouldn't actually be able to train, like, you know, you'd be training as many merchants off just a flipping grain exchange as you would be able to off a grand market of some description. So that doesn't feel right, but I may need to look that up later. If you happen to know, let me know in the comments. Right, preparations for the Crusade, as far as I'm concerned, appear to be complete, and that means yes, indeed. Next turn, I think the Crusade is ready to go. And Admiral John, oh, if you can, no, there's no point getting you trying to get round here, because, yeah, you'll never be able to block this guy unless he just changes his mind. But if you happen to just hang out here for a while, we'll be able to block up access to Stockholm. But this isn't a bad idea, actually. Like, this boat, after it's done dropping off the faction leader over here, could probably just go and squat over here to make sure more merchants don't head up in this direction, because then this area is pretty much blocked off to merchants, and this just belongs to us, full stop. We've got a spy heading out towards Poland, and also keeping an eye on Russia. Yeah, you're heading up there, just to go and squat on something. What are those big armies doing? What's your deal? Why are you not... Yeah, okay. I've just got a big army heading over there. Still no movement on Prague. And now, ooh. Okay, now they're squatting outside Hungarian borders. Intriguing. And of course, the thing about Crusades is mysteriously you just kind of get, like, divine sight about what's going on in the actual title of the Crusades. You can see how many people are there and what's going on, like, in the immediate area around it, which is sort of interesting. And did I complete a quest? Did I? Ah, yes, I reinforced Hamburg. Yes, sorry, that was a quest I'd forgotten about. Yes. Which is actually really bloody convenient, because I've just got, yeah, some dismounted Hussars showing up, which is great, albeit they're currently in our house, unfortunately, where they're not necessarily that useful. But that's fine. That just means I can confidently send, like, the entire army that is in Hamburg out of the way, because now I've got 2 units of dismounted Hussars heading in this direction in a second. Actually, pure coincidence, we do actually have a flipping member of the Byzantines floating right here, so I'm going to get Ingrid to speak to her just in the off chance she can pick up a good trait before she heads up north, because right now she's going to struggle to seduce this guy if I want to get that lovely Polish prince in my faction.
Is there something I can do for you, my lord?
Alliance would be generous. No alliance just yet, but simply trade rights and map information for map information. Actually, do I need map information? I kind of do. Let's see if she likes that.
Acceptable, but hardly inspiring.
Not exactly, you know, a testament to Ingrid's amazing skills of negotiation there, but whatever, it'll flipping do. Now we have indeed got... there's our proper visibility of all of, well, all that remains of Rome. But they do begin with, like, the best city in the game, which is really, really cool. They start off with Constantinople, which is a large city. It's really, really damn cool. Got a shipwright, got a large stone wall. It's a great fun city to start off with. As you can see, this... tragically is all that remains of Rome. At the minute, they're being pushed from pretty much every flipping direction. The Venetians are kind of, you know, there's... Actually, they've made it to here first. Basically, whether this town falls to Venice or Byzantines is... Well, obviously, like, you know, if you're playing one of the two, you'll always get it because you get the first turn in the game, so you'll totally be able to just seize this. I think you might have an army standing nearby, close enough to take it, like, immediately. But on this occasion, yeah, the Byzantines managed to take it, which is nice. So they've got themselves a little bit of extra territory, but... they struggle to expand. If they want to expand, it's kind of got to be either like in this sort of area or over here against the Ottomans. In either case, yeah, they face tough competition from a relatively strong faction. So, difficult position for them, we shall see. I hope they don't die out, by the way. Someone points out in the comments, like, you know, they'd be really sad if the Byzantines were actually wiped out in this playthrough. I agree. If I can, I'm going to keep them alive, at least a little bit. Right, got the king ashore, and perfect timing, I can indeed go and stick a ship right here. So now, literally no one can cross that point apart from me. Or actually, I think if I gave, like, military access to someone, they'd be allowed to do it too. But basically, I've now blocked that area off to other merchants, which is very, very useful indeed. And yes, indeed, we can see there, Oslo and Stockholm should now be trading with each other, albeit there's not many... Yep, there's a wagon on the road there. They're not exactly doing a huge amount of, trade. It's not exactly a roaring trade yet, but give it time, it'll be fine. Now, the Crusade, and how many people are going along on it? Because absolutely Prince Charles as the faction heir needs to go along, because that will get him loads of chivalry and basically everything will be good. So we're going to send him with you. Let's get him all lined up. So, him and his basic kind of nice, solid, heavy infantry. Lovely. And just make him step outside right now. He is going to be supported, obviously, with basically... 2 units of... Or do I want to send 3? No, I'll leave some of the Norse archers here. We'll give him 2 units of archers in support. He can also take the 2 units of Viking raiders for a bit more infantry. And then he can also take these 2 units of scouts. That's absolutely fine. And you know what? He can also have some mercenary spearmen. Just in case, 2 units of mercenary spearmen just in case he needs to deal with heavy cavalry. Now that's not bad, but you're probably thinking that doesn't look like much of an actual crusading army. Don't worry, we'll fix that in a second, because crusades in this game are hilarious. I just need to figure out, do I want to send anyone else along too? Do I want to send Steve Stenger with him? The thing is, if this is going to be our big Middle East expansion zone, then there's a very good argument for saying I actually want to send 2 generals in that direction, not just 1. So, because we're kind of out of expansion space already here. We've kind of got, we've got ourselves the Poles there. We might theoretically be able to take Prague. I bet that would be a big risk, and we'd be kind of surrounded by not the most friendly people in the world. But we would still have the Polish up here, which would be fine. But it's kind of, it's a little bit antagonistic to the, to the Imperials there. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm actually going to send a second general along here. So, Steve Stenger is going to join this army right now, and then this force here. Actually, you know what? You can actually have an extra unit of peasant archers, and these Norse archers, No, you already haven't got the damaged ones, fine. So you've actually got a decent army there. You, meanwhile, just step in here. These guys can come down here. We'll have a decent army there still. And I would say now, this army is ready to crusade. So, here we are, prepared to join the Crusade. Here we go. And when we do, something very interesting is going to happen to the mercenary units available for hire. Join the Crusade against a neutral faction. Yes, indeed, joining a Crusade counts as a declaration of war. If the city that you're going to be crusading against happens to belong to someone, it does. It belongs to Egypt. So we are indeed declaring war against Egypt right now. There we go. And everything just flipping changed, as you've probably noticed. So a whole bunch of extra stuff has just shown up here. Extra mercenaries that can only be recruited during an actual crusade. So we've got, yes indeed, we've got some pilgrims here. These guys are... They're just trash, to be honest. Like, they're kind of useful to have a few of, just because, like, if you bring a few along, they can do things like, pushing the ram to the gate, for example. But... to be honest, they're not really gonna do much. Attack 2, charge bonus 1, defense 1. They're not really gonna contribute that much. Crusader Knights, however, that's a bit better. Some proper flipping heavy cavalry. Now, you've probably noticed, however, that the recruitment cost of them is ludicrously cheap. Recruiting during a campaign is super cheap. These guys are still expensive because these guys were available anyway. So, like, mercenary crossbowmen, 860. These guys, 660. But yeah, a pilgrim, 35 recruitment cost to go. Upkeep of 90 as well, but we'll get into upkeep in a second. These guys, 220 go, albeit upkeep is a little bit expensive. Again, we'll get into that in a moment. And Crusader Sergeants, proper good quality, heavy kind of spearmen. In fact, actually, they're completely identical to the mercenary spearmen. It's just they're much cheaper to recruit because they actually want to go on campaign. So we may as well just acquire a few of them, to be honest. So, yeah, 410 a go. Why not? The thing is, these troops are cheap to acquire now. Once the Crusade's over, we won't be able to acquire more, but they'll be able to hang around in our army regardless, and they're pretty cheap to maintain. So we'll just kind of acquire a couple of those guys. Sure, for just like 220. 220 for getting these 2 guys, like, immediately is just so flipping worth it. So, do we want more heavy cavalry? Do we need it? No, I feel like that's not necessarily the most valuable thing in the world, but I will actually completely clear out these Crusader spearmen. So now we've got some good heavy spearmen floating around in our army, so that'll do for now. And you'll also notice now if we go into this guy, his upkeep is actually 0. While you're on Crusade, everyone's upkeep drops to 0 because they're doing this for the good of their immortal soul because the Pope told them to do it, so if they do it, they get into heaven, so they're doing it just like a holy mission, therefore they don't get paid. A crusade leads to an economic boom because all of a sudden, probably, one of your biggest armies you're not paying for anymore, which is lovely. And the other thing is, you get extra movement points. So you may notice this guy can now move much, much further than he would have been able to previously. It's even more ridiculous on the sea. The thing is, if I decide to take them by sea, then I need to take them round here, round Spain, through here, all along here, diddly-diddly-dee. So basically, that would be a bit of a waste of time. So we're not going to do that. What we need to do is we basically need to get down to here on foot, and then basically we need to join up with a boat and then head over to Cairo that way. That's got to be the most efficient way to do it. While you're in a crusading army, I don't think other Catholic factions are even allowed to attack you. I don't think you're allowed to attack them either. So yes, indeed, a crusading army can attack a Catholic faction. They're also allowed to just walk through other Catholic faction lands. I don't think anyone actually minds. The problem is, you can still be blocked in. So if I'm going through like a narrow mountain pass and the Imperials just have an army stood here in the way, I can't just kind of squeeze past it. I'd need to find another way around. So you do actually need to be careful not to go through too many like narrow mountain passes, otherwise you can get yourself kind of stuck. So possibly I might want to go like through this way and then maybe more like around here rather than risking getting stuck in a mountain pass, because crusading armies don't want to get stuck because bad things can happen. I'll get into that if it becomes an issue. But basically, this guy wants to start marching south as quickly as possible, so let's send him on his way. Now, while he's going along here, we'll also be able to pick up other kind of mercenaries too, which is fine. Oh, and just because he can't actually attack Catholic factions, that doesn't mean he can't attack other stuff. So we'll kind of get into that as we go along. Let's see what else we've got here. Relations worsened. Yes, would you believe Egypt isn't keen on the fact I've declared war on them? Egypt is not keen on that at all. Prince Charles immediately becomes chivalrous in rule, and so does, well, Steve Stenger goes up to fair in rule. So just joining a crusade gets them some bonus chivalry straight away, which is nice. Because Steve Stenger here, he's damn good. I think, like, if he goes on this crusade and he does well in this crusade, he could be a very, very good leader in the future. Now, however, for Sven of Milton Keynes, I think he needs to come down south here to Hamburg. Because I suspect, in time, I might want him to go over to Antwerp to lead the kind of expansion down there. Or, if I think it's worth it, he could even make a run down towards Prague. That could be of interest too. Depends if the Imperials make any move for it. If they're clearly not making a move for it, at this point, just looking at how full up the banner is, that place is basically just waiting to be walked through. So I feel like they attacked it, did huge amounts of damage to the garrison, walked away, and then decided just to not bother attacking it again. So, if the opportunity comes up, I might well go and take Prague, because Prague is valuable to have. Prague has, yeah, some good stuff to trade, it's in a good position, it could just generally be a very nice province for us. Now, over here in Helsinki, you guys can have some roads, just help encourage the Russians to leave, because the Russians I kind of just want them to go, to be honest, and just let them to get out. I'm just going to retrain the Viking raiders just in case. Stockholm can't really do anything for quite a while. They could have a grain exchange too, actually. Then we can just get ourselves, yeah, more merchants going along. Just get a merchant up here, because then we can hunt down wherever that flipping Imperial merchant went and take him out. But if we end this turn right now, then at the beginning of next turn, something very, very nice indeed is about to happen. So we'll see if anything's going on here. Oh, I forgot that guy was there. We should send him over there. Ooh, France. The French are sending in merchants. Hold on, Empire, keep chatting to us. What do you guys want? What does this princess want with me? Still nothing. Interesting. Ah, that big Imperial army is going to hunt down rebels. They're taking out rebels in their own territories rather than going after Prague. Potentially after those rebels are dead, though, they might go for Prague. So there might be an opening for me to go and get Prague. Oh, no, the Polish are going for Prague. I saw that for a second. They're totally going in that direction. Ooh, I think we finally get the Crusade. Oh, no, we don't get the Crusade. Why didn't we get the Crusade video? I don't know. Right, and the Pope, meanwhile, wants me to build a chapel in Helsinki. Wait, how religious is Helsinki right now? Oh, Helsinki's really not religious. Right, probably let's get a small chapel going on here, because the Russians have made it a bit orthodox, and other than that, it's just pagan like crazy. So that's fine. Would you please leave? This is not your territory. And you may notice we suddenly have a lot more money than we had previously, because yes, indeed, we're no longer paying for one of our biggest armies. So, alliance has been announced. The Moors and the Holy Roman Empire. You guys are, well, the Holy Roman Empire at the beginning of the game are not very good Catholics, and as it turns out, they're really, really not very good Catholics, because they've just flipping gone and made an alliance with the Moors. the Islamic faction in the south of Spain that the Spanish want to kick out as part of the Reconquista. Now, is anyone else drawing the Crusade? No. Right now, it's just me, which is fine, because that means I get a bit of a head start over everyone else who's actually in Northern Europe, which is good. I mean, in all fairness, like, you know, the Southern Europeans have such a head start over me, I need to get in early, but say, people like England especially really struggle to make it to the Crusades on time, because they basically have no choice but, well, they can either walk across all of Europe and take up, like, a mercenary boat round here, or they can form their own fleet and just kind of go on the stupid long journey around the edge of Spain, but it takes them a bloody long time to do. Now, get my spy over here in Thorn, and we go, he gets a little bit better. Now, this guy, we've got ourselves, ooh, hello. So you've got yourself a guard dog, an astrologer, -1 piety, but never mind. Oh dear. He's a little bit on the heretical side, but whatever. Yeah, he is a genius. +3 command, plus 10% bonus trade income, 10% bonus on tax income. Fine with blood, +1 morale, very nice. Eager, movement points, promising. Wall taker. Night fighting. We haven't seen night fighting. Night fighting is hilarious. We'll get to that when it comes up. It's really, really good. Uninhibitor, but that's fine. He probably won't be a factionaire, so it's alright. Social drinker. This guy's really, really damn good. And he's got the amazing name of Bolslaw Herman, which I think is a nickname. It's not really his actual name, it's just a nickname. So I tell you what, I think we are totally sending our princess up here to try and seduce good old Bolslaw Herman. We also get our first look at the proper Polish armies here. Poland has a great army. Really, really cool cavalry, which is nice. Polish nobles, bloody good at their job. And also, yes, indeed, they have got some flipping mounted crossbowmen, which I assume they start with them. I'm not sure they can train them straight away. Hang on, they can... you train them straight away? No, you can! Because they start off with a knight's stables in one of their cities, they actually get to train flipping mounted crossbowmen like at the very beginning of the game, which is really, really damn good. Now, Prince Charles, just look at the progress he can make. He can get so flipping far, it's amazing. But you do have to be careful, because obviously at this point, he's like, you know, he can march further than he can see. So sometimes it makes sense for a spy to kind of like accompany your crusading army or be like a bit ahead of it so you can keep an eye on like where he can and can't go. So if I like send my spy over here right now, say, then still can't bloody see anything. You can see a little bit better, it's fine. So I'm just going to move Prince Charles to here, then I'm going to move him over to here, and yes indeed he can actually get around this area. So the thing is, yeah, right now this bastard theoretically would be blocking this bridge probably, so I'm just going to move this guy down to here, and that should give me freedom to, either go, well, hopefully I can cross the bridge. I kind of need to cross this bridge, so I'm hoping that you will wander off like somewhere in this sort of direction. But I've got a flipping control zone too. Right. See, this is where it starts getting a little bit tricky. Because you might actually now need to go, like, round this way, which will be kind of awkward. Because even for a crusading army, crossing land that's got no roads on it is slow. And excellent news, that French merchant that showed up is flipping, yep, only skill 1. France is just spamming some merchants, sending them out to the world. They're doing this stupidly, and that means 95% chance, just watch my income. Boom, plus 500. And I think I've got a trait out of that too. Successfully acquired, and indeed, Commercial Conqueror plus 3 to Finance. This guy is now up to 5 out of 10. Lovely. And that means now if he goes back over to a silver, that's up to 47 a turn. Very, very nice indeed. In fact, actually, what we probably should do is, yeah. This stuff over here is worth, hang on, that was worth 43. This is 77 to go. I'm going to send him down here. You can also act as like a bit of an informal spy. But at this point, yeah, I can basically afford, like, you know, a unit in an army's upkeep purely off this one merchant. And I get 500 to go just for sniping off the crappy merchants that France is going to be spawning all over the shop. So that's totally worth it. Now, what's going on around here? Still no one's taken Dijon. That's interesting. That's interesting indeed, actually. I would have thought either Milan or France would have taken that by now. Still, that opens up some money. I can now actually fling around here. Oh, Oslo's done. Oh, Oslo. This is all very, very good indeed. Oslo, get yourself a... You see that? Back in the days of Rome Total War, like, you know, the trade income would jump from like 47 up to like 500 in just 2 turns on account of actually building the port. No longer. That's not what happens. Instead, probably, we don't need to rush to a port. What are the mines? The mines are 180 a go off the mines. Not so spectacular. Alternatively, I could get an extra, yeah, 60 or so, albeit that's during an excellent harvest off land clearance, and that would get the growth rate up, which is nice. Yeah, let's just get the growth rate up with land clearance. Like, investing in farming for small settlements is pretty much always a good idea. Stockholm is still doing fine. That's just training up its grain merchant, which actually is a bit of a waste. To be honest, I should really have... Oh, no, they already have land clearance, fine. So communal farming is probably next for them. Though I might build them a small church as well, just so everyone's got a church. That'll make the Pope nice and happy. Now, I want to buy a church in our house. Now, that probably looks like a waste, because our house is pretty bloody Catholic right now, and churches are expensive. But there's a reason for that. There's a very good reason to kind of have a church in one of your cities, a big church in just one of your cities if you're Denmark. We'll get to that when it becomes relevant, but yeah. I have a plan. I have a good plan, damn it. Now, one thing I actually could have done if I'd thought about it, and this probably would have been actually quite sensible, is while a crusading army cannot actually just like attack imperial towns or any other Catholic town, it can attack anything else. You can totally just ransack on your way on the crusade, which is very historically accurate. Because, yeah, the problem with the crusades is when you throw together armies of a mix of professionalised, unprofessionalised, and just random peasants, and they have to kind of move in a hurry towards the Holy Land, very often they ended up just basically causing a huge amount of trouble, and they just kind of, you know, marched through the flipping Byzantine areas, just flipping, trashing towns, robbing markets, causing trouble, and generally just causing a huge amount of problems for everyone they passed through. But, yeah, as a result, I could have actually used this army to swing by Prague and grabbed Prague as I was passing through. So, that might have been more sensible, but I didn't think of it at the time. But that's fine. I don't mind the Poles taking Prague, because they're my allies, so I don't mind these guys having a nice, strong eastern frontier. Because ultimately, if I do end up going to war against the Imperials, I want the Poles to be involved too, and then, yeah, if they've got Prague right here, that might put them in a good position to sweep down, take Vienna, while I start picking off, say, Frankfurt. So that would be a good opening move in a theoretical war over here. So if the Poles are going to go and get Prague, I'm going to let them have it. If they fail to take it, somehow, though I'm not sure how they would at this point, because they were sending a proper army over there, then I'll probably go and take it myself. But for the time being, I'm going to focus instead on Antwerp. Antwerp, which has 7 units in it. 7 units. Over here, meanwhile, I've got myself 3 solid units of heavy infantry, together with some basic Norse archers I'll be a little bit injured, and some mercenary spearmen. But I think I'm fixing those. Yeah, I'm fixing them right now. So probably what I need to do is get myself some extra... Yeah, just some extra archers and horsemen, and then we'll probably be in good shape to potentially... Oh yeah, especially when this guy gets there, because the king is on his way back. So very, very soon indeed, yeah, we can have these dismounted Hussars. We can fix them up too. We could actually send over some... Yeah, we could send some spear militia to support, actually. Let's get 2 units of spear militia moving south as well. Throw all of that together, and we're probably in pretty good shape to pretty soon have an army that's ready to start marching towards Antwerp. That will be a nice acquisition next. Imperial Princess moves on her way, stops just speaking to me. Fine, she's probably heading to... Aha! Okay, this is really good news. That guy decided he can't go that way, so he's going to go the stupid way, which opens up the sensible way for me to go down. Which is marvellously good news. But he's probably just blocked me tacking over to the other side, which could cause problems. Yeah, a Northern European power, just basically trying to get your way through the Alps can cause trouble. You can get stuck in a bit of a log jam, which can be a problem. Ooh, and there's a Portuguese princess I just saw there for a second, which is good, because I'd like to go and speak to her, because I think that's the only Catholic nation I haven't actually spoken to yet. Polish ships heading on their way, nothing major going on here, and indeed we've got ourselves... Apparently, I've passed another mission. What was the mission? Ah, yes, of course. I have indeed built that small thing. The Pope should be liking me by now. Let's go over to the Pope window. Yep, Pope's pretty keen on me. He's more keen with Sicily, which is interesting. Why is he so keen with Sicily? I don't know. Yeah, we've got a problem now, which is because these guys have gone the stupid way, that's opened up the bridge for my crusading force. But now, if I wanted to head south, if I head to here... I could get stuck in this mountain pass. If there's anything here, I can't get past it. Or I could head around here, but then that would bring me really terrifyingly close to Milan. I'm not sure you can even squeeze past there. So I kind of now have to go this way, but then if I get stuck here, that's really, really flipping bad news. So... I'm really hoping nothing's here, 'cause if nothing's here, that means next turn I get to the sea, and we're in really, really good shape. And Prague is indeed under siege right now, presumably from the Poles. But I can't send my spy to investigate, because my spy instead has to kind of... Oh, my spy can't even make it round there. Yeah, you see, at this point, like, a crusading army can go much further than a flipping spy can. So, as a result, your spies can't even flipping keep up. You can embed agents into a crusading army, which is not a terrible idea at all. It's actually probably a pretty sensible idea. But if I do now, then as a result, he'll have burnt like 2/3 of his movement points, and thus only 1/3 of the movement points will be left for this guy. So in which case, I may as well have the spy come over here and just keep an eye on what is presumably... Yes, indeed. Oh, it's a pretty damn big Polish army. Yes, indeed. Oh, they'll easily take that. They'll just walk into Prague. Fine, so Prague has fallen to the Poles, or as good as. Like, the chance of them actually being able to survive or beat back that siege is non-existent. Ah, and I think they just beat the Imperials. The Imperials were finally ready to come and do it, but the Poles have actually beaten them to it. So, well done, Poland. You have indeed beaten the kind of proto-Germans to Prague there. So at this point, we pretty much just have to hope, to be honest. We just march this guy here, and we hope there's nothing there. I kind of am ready with the backspace key, and if anything is there, I'm kind of hoping that whatever it is, well, if I'm in the way, just like that guy at the bridge did, he'll back off, and we see around the corner, and it is... Clear, 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 and... Okay. The way is clear for now. Please do not move anything into here, or I will be very, very sad. Because this is, this is the tightest, most dangerous bit of a crusade if you're coming from Northern Europe. It's very, very dangerous indeed. Like, yeah, if that guy hadn't been in the way, I'd have actually preferred to have gone, like, Vienna. It's a bit of a longer way round, but at least it's so wide open, it doesn't matter. You know you can't get blocked in. Because the thing is, a crusading army, because it's got, like, religious fervour to get to the Holy Land, if you don't make suitable progress towards the Holy Land every single turn, if you just spend like too much time just like bumming around or whatever, then basically people start losing faith with the crusade, wandering off, and basically like it's like your army's under siege, just like suffers attrition, and people just start wandering off and you start losing men, and eventually your army just basically completely disappears and your crusade's just over. You've just failed the crusade because you didn't make enough progress and people weren't happy with you. Now if you get kind of like, you know, if someone just kind of stands here and steadfastly refuses to move, that could happen to me. And then, as a result, I'd need to, like, go, like, back up here, and then round here. And mine would be like, why aren't you making progress? Because I'm moving, like, further away from Cairo. And as a result, they could be like, well, we're wandering off, and my army could be in a total shambolic state before we even, like, get onto the boats. So we've got to be very, very careful of that. And I really, really hope that doesn't happen. It would be really annoying if it did. So hopefully, we'll be good. But on the plus side, thanks to the fact we're no longer paying for that massive army, I am now just flipping in money central, and I can actually start trading stuff at all of my towns, which is great fun indeed. So, Stockholm, you can actually have yourselves. Do you need a church? You probably should do... No, you know what? Invest in the economy. While we've got money, just start like investing in all the stuff that produces growth and money. I could, right here... Actually, 2,400, and I can get the castle going at Helsinki. That's not bad, but there's probably more important stuff I can do down here. Yeah, you know what? Farming upgrades across the board. Buy all of the farming upgrades if we can. Communal farming, communal farming, communal farming. Everyone just start growing a bit faster, please. And a town watch for them, or a Levitan, or a brothel. Brothel for happiness probably wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. We've already got all the farming upgrades there. Or a town watch. Or does anyone not have anything yet? Helsinki, you didn't have anything. You have land clearance. There we go. Right. Basically, I've just spent all my money just on farming upgrades. And that's a really sensible investment early game. But I might want to cancel one of those. Because if I want to start moving towards Antwerp, like, I distinctly recall that these guys have some really, really nasty, tough troops to take on. So I might want to take something better than just what I've got. Because I can't rely on like padding out my army with peasants. It's a bad idea. So what I should do instead is maybe cancel one of those upgrades just to get myself some... one wing of dismounted Huskarls. Might not be the worst idea in the world. Or some extra indirect fire. That would be actually pretty damn cheap too. Yep, cancel on the farming upgrades. Let's actually get some proper troops in production here. So we can get ourselves peasant archers, more dismounted Huskarls, and actually I'd have no cavalry. But cavalry for taking a city is not so important. Let's just get, 2 units of peasant archers, 1 more dismounted Huskarls, and then Magdeburg, who nope, I stole your thing off you. Sadly, I cannot build anything else there. That is a shame. Now, as for my diplomat down here, he can just head towards finding, yes, indeed, he can go and find ourselves some Ottomans somewhere over here. So, of course, as I said before, we've got crossing points around here, so he doesn't need a ship in order to get over here to the Near East, which is lovely. And my princess continues her great journey as well. Oh, actually, we've got ourselves a Turkish diplomat right flipping there. Very good. You've not got any worse. I mean, no, actually, you've gone back up to 4 out of 10. I think you've picked up... Yeah, you've picked up some form of trade, because you were at 3 out of 10 at one point. Now you're up to 4 out of 10 again, so that's good. That means you've still got a... How good are you? Ooh, 44% chance. Okay, we've still got a coin flip of bringing this guy into the family. I like that. And even though I have previously said this is actually a bad idea, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cancel my dismounted Huskarl and bring in one Viking Raider, because I want just slightly more money available to me, because I would like to actually train a merchant up here in Stockholm. Because a merchant up here, oh, the merchants can make so much money. And if I can, I'd like to snipe off the other merchants. Once he's done, the merchants up here can make ludicrous amounts of money. Just sitting around here, training, getting good. Then once they've picked up a few points of skill, send them out into the world and just start sniping off everyone else's merchants. It's just a way of getting so much money in. And Stettin, meanwhile, is up to, oh, that's majority Catholic now. Just 52% Catholic. Good work, guys. And indeed, yeah, because this guy's actually been to a low Catholic area and done some good work, he's actually become an enemy of heresy, which is lovely. And actually, you've done good work as well, because my Cardinal, as a result of, yeah, doing all this stuff, he's up to 7 out of 10. How's he doing in the Cardinals College right now? Right, my guy's not quite holy enough yet, because unfortunately there are a few 8 out of 10s floating around. But if I can just get this guy a bit holier, just one more holiness, then he's got a shot of actually being nominated to be the next Pope. And you want the Pope to be your nationality, because it buys you a lot of freedom to do whatever the hell you want in Europe. Meanwhile, oh, the poor Sicilian bishop down here, tragically, not doing so hot meanwhile. And as I've just got, 200 sitting in the kitty at the end, I'm just going to just basically give a single payment to the Pope. I'm just going to give him 100 florins just for fun. There we are. It's agreed, is it? Yeah, I bet you are thrilled with that. And that will just slowly, I mean, that it hasn't actually got me +1, but just a few hundred can get your ranking with the Pope a little bit up. It's so easy to do. Just keep the Pope on side by bribing him. Now, our big hope for this turn, nothing use this mountain pass. Please, nothing use. I mean, nothing should, because technically this is the end of Imperial territory, this is Venetian territory. The Venetians have no reason whatsoever to march an army up into Imperial territory. So we should be fine. I mean, technically, there's an Imperial... The risk is something here from this Imperial city decides to march north and gets in my way. That's the only danger, and if that happens, that could be really, really dangerous, so I just kind of hope it doesn't. Come on, Imperials. Yep, Princess wanders over there. Please no army, please no army, please no. Nope, you're heading down to Vienna. Come on, just move on to the Spanish. Move on to the Spanish. That army immediately leaves Vienna again. It didn't like Vienna. Vienna smells. Goes up to Prague. You go around here, change your mind and head back up towards there. Oh, we're in Spain. Okay, this is marvellously good news. I think the way is clear. And we have got ourselves... we have actually got a Russian and a Turk floating around there. Well, that's marvellous. I may as well try and get some map information off the Russians, just so I know exactly where the situation is, because war with Russia feels, if not likely, then distinctly possible right now. Egyptians just bumming around, nothing major there. And the Portuguese... the Portuguese have come to see me. Lovely. I didn't even need to go and hunt them down. Marvellous. All I really want from them is trade rights and map information. Trade rights, map information, and map information is apparently generous, so go on. I'll extort a little bit of money out of her too. There we are. I want 400 florins too.
It seems we have reached an agreement. Thank you.
Marvellous. Luckily, Maria is possibly the ugliest princess going right now at 1 out of 10. So anyone who marries her is basically going to end up, actually with potentially a negative wife trait. Might have ugly wife, a wife. I can't remember what it's called now. Basically, it means, I think it's -1 to... I think it might be -1 to authority and also reduces chance of having children. If you marry a princess who's too ugly, it reduces your chances of having children with her. Which is harsh to the princess, but unfortunately that is the case. And the Poles look like they're moving in on Prague. Yep, and looks like an easy victory for them. Fine. So Poland has indeed taken Prague. So me and Poland together, forming a nice little empire in the kind of the northeast of Europe right now. I feel like I've chosen my friends well. New mission from the Pope in Stockholm. He wants a small church built. We can absolutely do that. And what have we got here? Diplomatic information. We've got... we've finally got some... Wait, what? The Moors and Spain are allies? Really? I'm glad that stuff has happened in Europe, by the way. I was starting to get a bit concerned that for some reason in this game, everyone was being really, really fluffy and lovely with each other. And I know I've installed the mod, so everyone is a little bit more trustworthy and less just kind of mental and mad and attacking each other. But regardless, when I've done games with this mod in the past, Europe's been a little bit more warlike. But yeah, we've had quite a peaceful Europe so far. So, admittedly, we still have a peaceful Europe, technically. But it is at least nice now there are some diplomatic moves being made. So, Spain, rather than they've started that whole Reconquista thing. We're just nah. You know what? Let's not go crazy here, alright? No one's expecting the Spanish Inquisition, alright? We're going to be friends with the Islamic faction down in the south of Spain. That's 100% fine. You know what, guys? Catholicism and Islam can just sit side by side and we can be great big friends. So the Holy Roman Empire and Spain and the Moors are now indirectly tied together into an alliance because both Holy Roman Empire and Spain are now allied with the Moors. So they might choose to ally with each other as well. If so, that's a bit of a dangerous alliance. And yes, of course, indeed, unsurprisingly, we do indeed have a bit of a war between the Byzantines and the Ottomans. That's almost inevitable because, yeah, they just kind of end up doing that. It would be weirdly ahistorical if they didn't, quite frankly. There you are. Hello there, Roman. You are a lovely Roman person. And relations... Yes, indeed, relations with the Papal State are good. I'm in the Crusade. I gave the Pope some money. Everything is lovely. Cardinal report. We have got ourselves... the Scottish Cardinal has died, and as a result, Sicily has just gained a new Cardinal. So the balance of the Cardinals College is starting to shift at this point. This is why you want more priests floating around who could theoretically be promoted to Cardinals. Because it means you kind of... The number of votes that you can cast when the Pope dies goes up. So now, when the Pope dies, Sicily will actually get 2 votes, because they've got 2 cardinals. So as a result of that, yeah, they'll vote for whoever Sicily likes the most. So as a result, Sicily is now kind of worth courting, potentially. Because, like, if I was allied with Sicily, for example, then as a result, Sicily would very likely vote for me if Sicily didn't have their own horse in the race too. But yeah, I was probably a little bit unlucky there, to be honest, because I've got a decent enough priest here, but he's only 4 out of 10. He probably needs to be a little bit better than that. But if we can just get you a little bit higher, then potentially in future, you might be able to get yourself promoted to Cardinal, yes. Now, we'll run into some flipping Turkish people sooner or later anyway, so I'm going to send my princess here to have a chat with this here Russian princess. So let's trade rights and map information and map information. That is apparently balanced, because I want that map information, to be honest, so...
A well thought out offer, my lord. I will happily accept.
Well, marvellous. And I don't want an alliance with that. Apparently that's demanding. Interesting. Like, so far, like, everyone I've offered alliances to, it looks like it's been generous. So therefore I could have even extorted money out of them. But these guys would consider that demanding. They don't want it. Probably because they hate us, to be honest. So, that's fine. Reputation is mixed, as is ours. Our power is very strong right now. Their power is very weak. But they're well off, which is interesting. So... war against these guys in time might be worth doing, and trait increase. Mistress of Negotiations. Oh, Ingrid. That was so worth doing. You're actually back up to 5 out of 10, despite your secret love, which is marvellous, because now this guy, up to 51%, we are just getting more and more likely to seduce this guy. This is marvellous. Ah, yes, and of course, Stockholm wants a church. Well, that's fine. We are sitting on... we've got enough money. I'll actually just kind of queue that up right now, to be honest. So we'll just queue that up just to make sure I don't forget it later. Also, well, actually, that's a really stupid idea. Because money, even though I've got a bit more in these shops, I'm not flipping flush. We're not Rome Total War rich here. We've got 3,800 florins to support an empire of flipping 6-7 settlements right now. So, yeah, that might be going a little bit too far. Well, as we do have a bit of money here, I'm going to build those mines. They're not the best mines. I think they're iron mines. There's no... hang on, what are we mining? There's... I can't see. There's something over there. It's probably iron rather than silver because it's only worth 180. So that's fine though. We should also have over here a merchant. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. That is so flipping... Wait, what? Why am I allowed to... Why am I allowed to train a new merchant here? Also, this guy's brilliant. +3 finance as a starting point. And he's also got a trick abacus with him. See, when you carry the 2 over, it turns out you owe me another 100 florins. Right, so he's basically just a con man. I like him. I like you, Mr. Hungry. You are my new favourite merchant. So now, he just needs to go and hunt down wherever that flipping Imperial merchant went and basically just murder him, albeit like economically murder him. Then you should gain even more. Then he'll be straight to 5 out of 10. Right, this guy is great. How old is he, by the way? He's only 22. He's going to be around for so long. This guy's 5 out of 10 at age 40. So he's doing very, very nicely. Right, so get you over to here. There we are. Are you trading right now? Yes, you are now trading 77 florins a turn immediately. Marvellous. That, I like that. Right, now, let's prepare the expedition over to Antwerp, because unfortunately you're not a proper spy, so we can't see what's going on there. But, obviously, we need Sven of Milton Keynes. Go and join the captain on the bridge, together with, yes indeed, 2 spear militia. Now, you're going to be taking... Oh, I forgot to take the king. Oh, the king's gone grey. Poor King Canoodle has gone grey. That is very, very sad indeed. Right, you go down here and get yourself retrained over in Hamburg. You go up here and just help out this place. I thought you were good at boosting flipping trade income, damn it. Actually, you know what? He'll give them a growth bonus. Like, if you've got chivalry generals not doing anything, have them just in places that you want to grow, because every point of chivalry just helps the city grow faster by 0.5% per point of chivalry, so it's worth doing just for that, to be honest. Right, so, you've got nothing right now. Send over, yes indeed, just send over pretty much all the Huskarls, and also all of you, and don't want to take anything else. May as well take along, yeah, just take a bit extra. I'd rather overdo it on this particular expedition, because, yeah, these guys, they can be nasty. Build myself one watchtower, just so I've got a bit better visibility over here. And Admiral John can probably actually help you get along to Antwerp a bit faster next turn. Lovely. Just because, yeah, there's no road here, so progress will be slow, so we'll do it by sea if we can. And also, yep, remember to repair up that dismounted Huskarl. And, oh, go on then. Let's get some padded armour on these here peasants. Actually, the peasants... You know what, go on then. The peasant who's actually got the experience and the armour. Like, you know, a peasant with experience and armour, 5 attack, 4 defence. It's not great, but, like, you know, it'll do. If there's, like, you know, just a bit of, like, town militia, it can pin them for a bit. It's fine. Plus, of course, don't forget, peasants do have the advantage of having, like, you know, a decent number of numbers. Like, it's only 150, which is a shame. Like, I would have preferred if it was, like, 240, like, back in the old days of Rome Total War. But if they're, like, you know, pinning a unit with only 120, that numerical advantage does give them a small advantage, at least. Now, as I suspected, yes, indeed, I can't afford to just queue up a church because I'm already down to flipping 1,000 florins. Because, yeah, building that there mine, but we've got the... the church is already completed. Lovely, nice, big old church here. Yes, indeed, right now, I assume. Right, okay, so I think I've just figured out what it is. So basically, every single city that has a building like a grain exchange, like any form of building that gives you the ability to train merchants, that increases your global cap of merchants. So I'm allowed to train an extra merchant here at our house because I've got 2 merchants in the world, but I've got things like grain exchanges at Stettin, our house, and Stockholm, but I believe not Oslo yet. Hang on, look at Oslo. No, don't have one there yet. But if I was to build a grain exchange there, I could actually train a new merchant here at our house. Right, and then I can get up to a total of 4. Lovely. However, I do believe that, yeah, the higher level the market you've got in a settlement, the more likely it is that the merchant that's produced is going to be good quality and has, like, good stuff in his retinue. But by sheer coincidence, Stockholm, this tiny underdeveloped town, just happens to have produced a flipping economic genius. So we can just basically step outside right now and start training iron for 57 florins a turn, or whatever that is for 41, or come over here and I can't even see what that is. That's 24, that's 19, that is 19. You know what? You just go up here and start trading this here iron, though. Can you build... Iron, I thought, was one of the things you built mines over. Can you not build... Hang on, maybe mines are tied to something beyond village. Hang on, let me just check this. Yeah, you need a large town before you can build mines, but I can totally build a mine here at Stockholm when I've actually got that under control. So that's good. That's good, because actually it feels like mines, potentially a second set of mines, Stockholm, once it gets up to the next stage of town, might actually be worth an awful, awful lot of money. In fact, I'm actually going to lower the tax rate here, just to encourage them to grow a tiny bit faster, because I just want this place up to a large town, because mines here is going to produce a ridiculous amount of money. Like, in the long run, Stockholm's going to make its money through trade. In the short term, Stockholm's going to make its money through mining, and every town's going to make its money through lots of farming, which is also encouraging growth, and growth just gets you up towards trading sooner. And go on then, Stettin, you can have yourself a town watch. Because, yeah, unlike in Rome Total War, building actual military infrastructure in towns actually gives you law bonuses, so it can be worth it. So go on then, have yourself one of them. But most importantly of all, yes, it does appear that Prince Charles has an open route to the sea. Just, I've got my finger over the backspace key in case I need to cancel these orders. Nope. We have got ourselves a nice open run. Oh, that is beautiful, beautiful to see. We have made it through the most dangerous bit. I know it seems odd to kind of say, like, you know, the most dangerous bit of a crusade is just going for a mountain raid in completely safe Catholic Northern Europe, but apparently that is the case. That is, well, not really Northern Europe. Kind of, is this Central Europe? I guess this is kind of Central-ish Europe. Right, so I'm going to move myself over here at this point, I'd say, because, yeah, we just need to get over towards the sea. Just double check we're not walking into an army here, because the Venetians might well be moving troops backwards and forwards in this area. But nope, seems to be fine for now. In which case, I'm just going to pull myself around to... Thing is, if I train a boat here, or rather hire a boat here. I'm not sure whether that boat can actually squeeze out past the Venetian port. So I'm going to move my guy over in this other direction. And, yep, we do... Oh, we've just got a rebel army right there. We might as well actually take those... Wait, what? I lost sight of... How did you lose sight of him? How did that happen? Right, well, there's just one guy here. We might to literally have our flipping army kill that guy. Just for the sake of actually getting him out of the way. But hopefully, the Venetians are planning to do that for us. And the English are floating around here as well. Marvellous. So, yes, we've actually managed to get our guy over to the sea. So, next turn, what we basically need to do is... We've got ourselves... We've got, yeah, you can see there that actually, thanks to the fact that Crusade's on, the game very generously provides us with some cheap mercenary galleys. So yeah, normal one costs 1,000, but there's some floating around here that cost only 200. So I can buy a cheap boat, which is very generous of the game to provide that, because they know the Northern European Crusader forces will probably need to hire boats rather than sailing the long way. Also, as you go around, different troops become available. So because we're now in Venetian territory, we can actually buy ourselves a Great Cross. This is a unique unit to Venice, I believe, but because, like, I'm in Venetian territory on a crusade, one of them is just willing to join up with me, which is really cool. Basically, they are spearmen pushing a giant cross thing, and it just gives morale to units nearby to it, which is really, really damn cool. So you know what, that seems badass. We'll be recruiting one of... Oh, I can't recruit one of those, because I don't think I literally don't have the money. Right, you know what? Hang on. I need to... Oh, no, I can. It's just it already takes the money away. But the other unit that's actually floating around here is religious zealots. Or rather, religious fanatics, sorry. These guys are hilarious, which is, yeah, they are basically a group of just nutters with sticks who have got defense 1, attack 13. And they may charge without orders. So this is basically, yeah, the equivalent of just like the religious travellers who you saw earlier. But these guys actually hit really, really bloody hard. A motley assortment of zealots and maniacs. Ah, perfect. Armed with clubs, like-minded militant pilgrims. Ah, marvellous. They are actually surprisingly bloody good. Like, if you just basically send them into the back of something, if you just flank with them, they can do a really, really damn good job. And they're so flipping cheap, I'm totally going to buy a unit of them right now. So we're totally getting them in the army. Nice. So we've now got a Great Cross to push around, as well as religious fanatics. The Great Cross comes with its own people pushing it, by the way. And they're actually pretty damn good at attack 12, defense 16. So if this thing gets attacked, even by cavalry, because it's defended by spearmen, it will do a good job defending itself. Right, next turn. Let's see what goes on here. We've got ourselves Imperials. Ah, the Imperials are speaking to the Polish. That's interesting. I really hope the Imperials aren't about to make friends with the Polish. That puts me in an... Well, actually... It doesn't put me in an awkward situation. If me and the Imperials actually ended up as allies, rather than the Imperials just brought a really, really big army up to the Polish border. But hopefully, they're just taking on some rebels around there. Yeah, they're just beating up rebels right now, but I don't feel like peace between the Imperials and the Polish is going to last. Right, as you probably would have expected, Venetian army is chasing off those flipping rebels for me, which is good. Probably about to murder them. Well done. Now, hopefully, yep, they're now stuck over there. That's probably just cleared the path out of the way for me. Very, very nicely indeed. Russia bumbles around. The Turks are on the way. Fine, we won't catch them. I'll just send my own diplomat over to speak to them. And the Portuguese are on their way too. Nothing more needed from us. Unsurprising. Honestly, me and the Portuguese don't really have much to do. Oh, wait, hang on. That might be him. That might be my guy. That might be the guy I want to seduce. Ingrid, get after him. That's your man, damn it. And we've got... Oh, an alliance has been announced. Oh... Well, this is intriguing. I'm sort of now indirectly in an alliance with the Holy Roman Empire. Because if I went to war with them, Poland would have to choose a side. Ooh. Right, life just got flipping interesting there. Meanwhile, it's time. It is time for my army to come over here. It is time for my army to hire a mercenary galley. I'm going to get... Do I need 2? Yeah, just for the sake of safety, I'm going to spend 400 on 2. And as soon as these guys step into this boat... Yeah, you know what? Boats that are crusading boats in this game can go a very, very long way indeed. And that is having already used up some of my movement points. Like, they can do much, much better than that in future. So we have got our crusading forces on a boat, damn it. And now we are going to make very, very fast progress down to the Holy Land. And what else have we got here? Large turn rate. Ooh! Our house is ready to upgrade. Oh, that's such good news. Our house snuck up to 6,000 while I wasn't paying attention. Right, do it. Upgrade them. Let's get an actual proper city going on here. That is lovely. Anything else going on here? No, oof. I love the land clearance. Land clearance complete. Here's a picture of some dirt. And anyone who wants to see, some people occasionally ask to see the end of turn report. There you go. We're not looking so healthy. Oh dear. Financial right now, 14. That's because, financially, of course, the game considers me massively in debt, because it just looks at, like, how many troops I've got versus how much money I've got coming in, but it doesn't take into account the fact that because most of those troops are currently on campaign, on the Crusade, I'm not paying for them, so the financial situation is not quite as bad as it looks like. But, yeah, we're doing well in the world. Militarily, number 2. Only the Holy Roman Empire is ahead of us. If I was to theoretically go and make friends with the Holy Roman Empire myself, I'd say Denmark, Germany and Poland could form... I mean, just look on the mini-map. That's one hell of a powerhouse. That could be a massive powerhouse empire. If the 3 of us were to turn our attention on, say, France, then we could just roll over them really, really easily. Okay, interesting possibilities are emerging, ladies and gentlemen, because potentially I could try and make friends with the Holy Roman Empire. I doubt it's going to last, but we could give it a go, and then beyond that, well, that's another point. Russia, over here, who we now have map information for, yeah, Russia's not got much right now. They've got, they're kind of, is this your capital? Yeah, this is your capital, right here, basically unflipping guarded. They've got then just some crappy little town here, basically not guarded. One army that's just squatting here, for whatever reason, but other than that, actually, it looks like the Polish are doing a much better job expanding than the Russians are. The Russians are kind of weirdly expanding. Is this nothing but... Actually, that's all Moscow. That's all just one ridiculous territory. I think they've only got 3 territories in the world. They've just kind of expanded in this way. So yeah, all of that, technically, belongs to Moscow, a large town here. Other than that, yeah, it's all just kind of... yeah, that is all rebel territory. So... Russia is looking vulnerable. France could theoretically be vulnerable. I could form a great Northeast Europe alliance, and that could potentially go some very, very interesting places indeed. So, we will have a think about that, as well as our crusade actually heading out towards Cairo. We're on the boat. Progress will start speeding up next time, as well as I believe, is this your man? Is this your man? That's... No, that's someone else. Don't marry him. That's someone unrelated. No, that's your guy right there, sitting in his castle with 240 Polish nobles. Get over there, Ingrid. Let's get over there. Can you make it to here next turn? No, you're just shy. So next time, we shall see if Ingrid can get her man. We shall see if potentially we want to be friends with the Imperials. I'll have a think about that. And we shall see if the Crusade can actually make it to Cairo. All that to come, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, I've been John. This has been many a true nut, and this has been Medieval 2 Total War. Thank you very much, and goodbye. We've all learnt a valuable lesson here. When people have the zombie plague, don't allow them into confined spaces with you. We should just actually, like, use cannons. Do we have cannons? Use the cannons. Oh, they've got a big hammer. That's what the noise is. And a pirate's just rammed them. Okay, I think we're in a traffic jam on the sea.